Hello, welcome everyone, whoever's joined or whoever's gonna watch it later. Welcome to the last of our Hacktoberfest office hours. This one is the one for EMEA, and you've seen for a little blip just before that I've invited some guests, so I figured I'm gonna invite some of our fantastic reviewers from this year. So just quickly switching back to our gallery view, I figured we could do a quick roundtable. You already know Earl, but Earl, you want to say a word and then we could go all the way around. What do you think? You're a mute, buddy. Of course, right in
Oh,
character.
so traditional for me. Hi,
Yeah.
everyone. I'm Earl. I'm muted. That's my word. We'll go to Ravi.
Ravi.
Hello all, I'm Ravichandra, super excited to be here. So I have been contributing from last 2 years. So this time I got to be reviewer.
Nice.
Pretty amazing experience.
Great to have you.
So,
Oh, sorry. I picked Rampriya because I'm just going around. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Rampriya. I'm participating Hacktoberfest from 2022. This is my swag. So this year I got my swag too, and so glad to be part of this group, this reviewer group. And hi everyone.
It's amazing to be for you to be here, for us to be with you, and all those shirts look amazing. Personally, I definitely prefer the previous one, but I keep saying that all the time. Shaquille, welcome.
hello everyone. My name is Shakil and I'm a ServiceNow MBB from Hyderabad. And this is my second year as a reviewer, and from 3 years I'm contributing. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Good to have you. Shaquille is like super reviewer this year, I think. Abhishek, hey.
Hey, hi all. Welcome to this live stream. I'm Abhishek. This is my 4th year of participation in Hacktoberfest. Last 3 years I was participating as a contributor. This year both as a contributor and reviewer. So yeah, welcome you all.
Fantastic. So you may know the main purpose of this live stream is really to have an office hours, to have a forum for current participants, wannabe participants, to ask their questions or challenges. So we got a pretty big group now to help you through that journey. It's only 1 week. Well, depending on where you live, there's 1 week left of Hacktoberfest, which I don't know what you guys think. I think it's still enough time, even if you're just getting started, to get your 6 PRs done. And we were just checking recently. You guys are still not too late if you're just getting started. So even if you want to get the cool t-shirts that Earl and Rampriya are showing off in this stream, you still can do that. You can still go for the ServiceNow swag, or just the bragging rights for having done Hacktoberfest, which is probably a great feeling. Have even like a tree planted in your name when you get to super contributor after your 6 PRs. How cool is that? And get all those nice holopin badges you can show off on your GitHub account or anywhere else where holopin is integrated. So if anyone, just anytime during the stream, you guys have any questions, just pop it in. We'll try to prioritize that. But if there's no questions, we'll probably just roll off with some of the basics, and we can then also talk about. We've been in to this year's Hacktoberfest for over 3 weeks now. And Earl, you've just let us know a couple days ago that we've already surpassed the number of contributions from the previous year, which is quite amazing, considering that this year we set off of, okay, let's just streamline it a little bit. We're highlighting only 3 repositories, which we can highlight a little bit later as well. And we're not going to be obsessed with growing Hacktoberfest and keeping the numbers up, but let's do it right. Let's keep it a little bit chill and focus more on quality rather than quantity. And still, we got a great community out there, including you guys, of course, in the stream. Because it's important to say we're not just here like reviewing work. we also try to contribute. We also prepare our contributions in advance and try to set an example. I don't know, did you guys have any particular highlights from this year? What do you think, especially if you've been participating in previous years? What do you think, if anything, stood out for you? Anyone have anything to add there?
Yeah, so maybe I will add
Sure.
to this. So this year, the two reports or the two projects that we have included on is the Action Pack and the Hack for Good. This is really helpful for different level of the contributors that can participate into. Like Hack for Good is will help in the social cause. If anyone is having any idea and like to contribute to that, then they can explore this repo, explore this projects, go there, and then just submit the idea that can add a lot of value. And then another one is Action Pack. If someone is really passionate about creating a flow design as action and those things for a lot of automation works, then they can go and then contribute in this apart from every code snippets that we are doing. So again, that is the good repo where a lot of contributions we see, but these two are really big value.
That's a great call. I will probably circle back to that a little bit later. That's really the theme of this year. Did any of you guys wanted to add anything to that? Any other thoughts?
Yeah.
From Priya? Yeah.
Yeah, I love the hack. Hack for Good, H43. So I used to read the people already contributed ideas. That was super exciting because there are flooding of ideas. Even someone think I'm not able to. I don't know that I'm not pro in scripting, or I'm not a technical person. I'm just having means only functional knowledge. Yes, they can also able to contribute this year. And then there are a lot of good ideas are there. So I'm also contributed. While reading those ideas, I was super excited, and it's so impressive this year.
Yeah, well, I'm happy you see it that way. Yeah, so what are actually these repositories, Hacked for Good and all the others? We can look into that. Like how. So if I want to start off now as a new contributor, how do I even start, right? So we always say, I've seen we had like a cool asset for that, which I can't find right now, for devlink.sn/Hacktoberfest. I wanted to put that on the screen, but it's gone. So we'll put it in the comments later. There you go. Thanks, Earl. Hacktober. Devlink.sn/Hacktoberfest essentially takes you to this blog. I'm gonna bring it up like real quick. We have this nice blog up here to essentially walk you through the whole process. What are the projects of this year, how you can take part in it, and where do we even start as a new contributor. So Hack for Good was mentioned, but that's not the only repository. So for this year, we decided to have 3 levels. One of our classic repositories, code snippets. This is what we consider level 1. It's not necessarily level of difficulty. However, it's true that this is perhaps the easiest to jump into because it's all about understanding Git, using GitHub. You don't even need a ServiceNow instance for this. You don't need to integrate your ServiceNow instance with source control for this. You literally can just take a piece of JavaScript code that maybe you already have from your own personal work or projects you worked on, and just share it with the community. Open a pull request, put in a README for what your code is doing, give some examples, and it's going to be reviewed by the nice folks on this stream and in the back on Slack, and if it's good, it looks good, we're going to accept that. Or what's the definition of good? We've got contributing guidelines in every repository, which we can also go through a little bit later. And for the level 2, for second level, is actually Hack for Good, which we are pretty excited about. So some of you folks out there might have heard Hack for Good before. It was an event on the previous 2 knowledge conferences, and it was most like a hackathon kind of thing. You had to sign up for sessions, pick up some user stories, and do some developments. We, together with the team in charge of Hack for Good, we want to see how we can grow this initiative, both internally at ServiceNow and externally towards our community. And we figured one of the easiest ways to start is just collect ideas. So we created this app, the Hack for Good Idea Submission app, which is doing exactly that. It's collecting ideas for Hack for Good. So this is level 2 because it requires you to fork the app, fork the repository, download the app from your own fork into your ServiceNow instance, and then write your idea there, and then submit it back to your own GitHub repository, and then finally open a pull request to send it back to our central repo. So there's that additional challenge there. The actual Hack for Good Idea submission is now very complicated indeed. You need to fill out a form, but it's all the technicalities behind. It's all about walking you through how to work with source control integration in ServiceNow. And then finally, we got a level 3 project, which is very similar in nature to Hack for Good in terms of this requires a ServiceNow to GitHub integration. However, in this case, we are collecting custom flow designer actions, and that's why it's called the action pack. And that's indeed our cornerstone project for this year. So if you want to learn more about these repositories, these projects, or Hacktoberfest in general, or what's the terminology used on GitHub or any other Git source control system, you can just head to this blog. It's full of other resources, including this funky podcast Earl and I recorded earlier, and all the links to the relevant repositories, office hours, our Slack community. I should mention that we've got a cool community on Slack. If you join SNDev's Slack, there's a Hacktoberfest channel specifically for addressing questions, concerns of any nature, and we take all sorts of feedback. And yeah, there's of course swags. There's the digital badges, all the holopin badges you can earn, the cool t-shirts that the guys have shown us earlier, and the ServiceNow swag, which essentially all it takes is for you to come to this blog post once again, devlink.sn/Hacktoberfest, and just share in the comments what you've done this Hacktoberfest. And I would encourage everyone, don't worry about the number of contributions too much. So even if you end up just submitting a couple of pull requests and not reaching super contributors, still come here and share your experience, share what you've done. If you've just done one, that's already great. That's the first step. I think I believe I did not complete my first Hacktoberfest, if I want to be completely honest. So that's totally fine. That's pretty much it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there anything else we should add? We should mention?
Okay. I think one thing I forgot to really emphasize inside of the blog when we rewrote it for this year was that ServiceNow is growing in terms of what is accessible to people that are used to traditional development. And traditional development almost always involves source control. So if you are watching this and you haven't participated, or you're still getting started, or you're not sure if you want to participate, this is Hacktoberfest. When we started doing it as a ServiceNow community, the goal was to get people exposed to source control, period. That was the goal. Hacktoberfest itself is about celebrating open source contributions to open source projects. But for our participation, the ServiceNow side, we just wanted people to understand source control, because if your career is in ServiceNow, you're used to update sets, you're used to all that kind of stuff. But more and more things are moving there's more pathways to utilize source control inside ServiceNow, especially with ServiceNow IDE, the build agent, all of that's integrated into different studios that has access to source control. And so it's easy to do work inside source control and not use update sets, in my opinion, now. So explore it. It's good for your career. It's good for learning. It's good for the community. It's good to just be able to know you're participating in something with other people. Our group wants to have more virtual events, more. That's preview of the future. We want to do stuff with Hack for Good year round. We want to do stuff with these virtual events more year round and stuff like that. And this is how a lot of people get started. So if you can't attend one of the in-person events, this is a great thing to participate in.
Yeah, and honestly, if you are new to the concept of source control, it's not just we do this for fun, just during the month of October. More and more organizations are embracing that, and with new features like developer sandboxes. The entire concept of using developer sandboxes is basically the same as using branches in GitHub and stuff like that. So if you understand that logic, it helps you actually grow in your career as well as just be a better consultant, developer, architect, whatever, by being able to leverage source control during your daily work. That's my opinion, at least. I don't know how you guys, or if you guys been using source control at all during your work. I've worked on different clients. Certain clients demanded it for everything. Other clients never heard of it, including some developers, sadly. But that's why we try to do these events as well, to bring this closer to people and lower the bar of entry. Yeah, I just gotta highlight this. Shout out to Ravi for all the high number of pull requests. Gotta say, ain't just Ravi. Shaquille and some of the other guys are also super busy this year, and I appreciate your help, guys. Honestly, I think for Earl and I and some of the previous reviewers, it's been pretty chill, kind of laid back. I definitely skated through October thinking oh, I don't need to worry about all the contributions, because the guys are picking it up in maximum 2 minutes. So, oh yeah, Shaquille's in second place, perhaps. I don't know. It's not a race, I gotta say. We have to remind our reviewers, it's not about getting the numbers, but it shows the insane amount of work that these guys are putting into reviewing all the contributions, guiding people how to fix those errors. And we also make mistakes sometimes as reviewers. That's fine. Call us out. That's what it is. We're also learning every year. So kudos to all of you guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Laszlo.
Yeah. Cheers. How do you even do that?
Yeah, I got to know about source control through Hacktoberfest program only. So I even created GitHub because of this Hacktoberfest. So I don't know nothing about pull request or source control or merging, branching, and all those stuff. So I remember Shakil guiding me 2 years back. I know he has one YouTube stream or YouTube session for that. So here I am with these many pull request reviews. So it's basically it's me or Shakil or Rohi. It's all same. So we kind of, yeah.
No, absolutely true. Appreciate all the work, Shakil, and all of you guys for actually getting the word out. So this is how we grow as a community. Of course, all of you are MVPs as well, so that helps. But yeah, it's highly appreciated. Oh, no, it wasn't always like this, and I'm pretty sure we would struggle if we would have to do all the reviews ourselves. So that's great. But maybe I'll circle back to like actual participation for anybody just watching. And I know it was mentioned several times, and it's written down. And we can do some live reviews as well. That's what we also prepared for. But I'll try and put my screen back on if I find it, just to show folks where I would start. Do I need to still zoom in? Let me try and zoom in.
Yeah, like 150%.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, much better.
Cool. So I don't know if that's the best practice. I like to just go to the Hacktoberfest repository, because that's kind of a starting point. You guys don't get to contribute directly to Hacktoberfest, but this is a collection of what we do. It's always updated. You can here find the links to each of the participating repositories this year. There's a leaderboard. You can see who are all the reviewers with all their fancy 80s pictures and so on and so on. I jump straight into maybe let's do a code review. I already have this zoomed in. So if you come here as a participant, the first thing you want to do, actually for every repository, I'll say, of course, you read the README. That's kind of the starting page of every repository. To understand what the project is even about, or how it works, depending on what project we're talking about, if you contribute to non-ServiceNow projects, because that's important as well. Like Hacktoberfest is not a ServiceNow event, it's a global event. And I forgot to mention it, so sorry for jumping between tabs, but since I had it open, hacktoberfest.com, as soon as you got a GitHub account, you can just use that to log in. It's gonna do the initiation for me, and in a second, I'm already logged in. Yeah, there you go. So I don't have my badges, but yeah, contributions are basically done. And you can read everything about Hacktoberfest as an event. You can also find other projects to participate in if you got skills that you want to practice beyond ServiceNow. But for the sake of this live stream, let's just jump back into our level 1 project, code snippets. So once you've read the README, you want to understand how you can contribute. What are the requirements? What do you need to do? So we got a pretty detailed guideline, what's expected of you, which is many of these are overlapping across projects and repositories. So obviously you start with a fork, which is like creating a copy of the repository for your own GitHub account. Recommend creating a new branch for every new contribution. It's going to make it so much easier for you when you want to open your pull request. You add your code snippets in that new branch, or just edit it if you already had it there. So make sure it gets captured in your new branch. And then you just open the pull request. And when you do that, it's going to come to us for review. So now we have, at the moment, you guys can see 7 of these reviews open. So let's see. Let's start with this one. Normally, these would not be here. We just stopped our eager reviewers to close all of them for the sake of this live stream, so we have something to show you. So what are we looking at here? As a reviewer, we want to make sure you're meeting at least the minimum requirements of our contributing guidelines. we got a checklist here, and this submitter filled out part of it. So let's see what this is about. What we look at first is obviously we look at the title. So it helps if it's a descriptive title and the description. So descriptive determines the number of weeks between the start and end date. Okay, interesting. So what do we expect in this case for contributions to code snippets? It's a few things. So we'd go over to what are the submitted files. So we have a file structure. Let me just jump back into there. I should have mentioned that in the beginning. So we've got a 3-level structure here in terms of how we categorize contributions, server side, client side, core APIs, integration, and essentially other. So for example, inside of server side components, we get different areas. So where you would run that code snippet you're submitting, where do you intend it to run? Is it just something to be run as a background script, a business rule, what kind of business rule, inbound action, and so on and so on, So once you figure that out, for example, I want to submit a script include, then you would give it a name. So you will put it in your own folder. That's already the 3rd level. And inside of that folder, we would find 2 files. Your README, which is a description of what you submitted. This is a pretty good example here. Has some examples, also highlighting the code, and the actual code itself in a .js format because it's JavaScript. So that's something you can just copy as a user if you want to reuse it and use it in your own environment. Jumping back to pull requests, but guys, if you got anything to add, just jump in. Don't wait for me because I'm just here yapping.
Actually, I do want to say something. So that I do want to point out that that is it was a great README, and so people have been asking us a lot about, hey, how much are we okay with AI contribution and stuff like that? And so we've taken a stance as reviewers as if it's a good contribution, it's a good contribution.
Yeah.
Period. But one of the things I like to go by my personal way of it, at least when I see other people's contributions, and we've been pretty lenient when it comes to contributions into code snippets. But my personal stance is we want to see your code snippets. If you are if you have a good use case and you utilize AI to solve that, and that's fine. If you are just using AI completely to do all of this, then I usually am like, that's not, we could tell if you're trying to actually try, right? Like, and that says something because we are a community and we learn who people are and we understand like what the kind of things they submit when it's trying to be real. But that being said, I do think AI is wonderful at documentation, and I'm completely okay where if you take a code snippet that you've written and then you've saved and this is really valuable and you want to share it into this repository, but then use AI to describe it, to document it, to provide example use cases. AI is so good for documentation for technical stuff. So totally encourage that side of it. But we want to see your code snippets. So that's something to think
Absolutely. I mean, there really is nothing wrong with it because it helps whoever wants to use these code snippets. It helps them. It has a great description, nice examples. Why not? I did use it myself. I remember, like in previous years, in the pre-era world, like we're going to be talking about it like we talk pre-COVID, I guess. But I used to spend so much time on writing these README files because I had the code snippets. I collected them during the year. I was like, oh, it's gonna be nice to share in this repo, and I had it. It needed some refactoring because I didn't want to embarrass myself with the var GRs and all that. And then write a nice README for that, and that took me so much time to create something like this But now it's seconds. It's crazy. We still expect you to validate that, correct that, but as long as it helps the people who will end up using it, yeah, be my guest. And even for your code refactoring as well. But yeah, if it's gonna be just AI slop, yeah, we don't like that, and we will find out, Well, probably not always. I want to be honest. Like, definitely some things are slipping through. It's just the way it is. We're talking about several hundreds, if not thousands, of contributions. So that's just the way it is. But low effort things we just don't appreciate, and whether it's AI slap or you're sending us a GS print something, yeah, that's not gonna make it. Yeah, anything else to add, guys, or should we just jump right into this PR? Well, if you get anything, just interrupt anytime. I'm just gonna assign it to myself. So I'm gonna be too strict here, but generally we would want our contributors to go through this checklist and mark them as reviewed. So let's see what was sent in here. We have a description. We have a very lightweight README file. Clearly not AI, at least. And let's see what do we have there. Okay, we got the folder structure is right. We got the so we don't I also just want to say we don't necessarily do code reviews in the sense of, oh, this is poor or this is great, because that would be whole lot of time. But we do, I don't know how to say that, but just try to apply, I don't know, general logic or just a gut feel in terms of what was submitted before, what constitutes as really low quality or added value. Like in this case, I'm pretty sure we have code snippets that do the same thing until about maybe this part. I don't know if we had anybody who called out something that's just calculating weak differences. And I gotta be honest, but let's use this as an open forum. I gotta be honest, for this one, for me, it's pretty clear this is not an AI contribution. It's something they wrote for their work or whatever, and they figured they would share as part of Hacktoberfest. So even though these functions are documented and you might have seen it somewhere else, generally for this one, I would say it's fine, because someone would come looking, they would find that this is I don't know, weak calculation or whatever. It's going to pick up those keywords and they may find value in it. But I tend to go pretty easy in terms of what I accept and whatnot. So tell me, what do you guys think about this? Some of the we could do thumbs up, thumbs down,
Good.
but we can
All right.
we can just do the live.
All right,
vote.
everyone, on three. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got something going down.
Okay. So you know who's the
Mine is not down. Mine is not up.
it's and
Something in
you
between.
know it's okay. Like we don't have to agree on all these things, and we see this all the time in our internal reviewer channel, that we get all sorts of debates. Like some people want to not accept things. Some people would challenge the value of this. some people like me would be saying like, oh, okay, well, it's maybe not the highest value. It sort of meets contributing guidelines. We could be picky, sure, but it checks many of the boxes, and if it adds value to someone, I would tend to say yes. I'd be curious, Rampriya,
Yeah.
what your arguments would be, because that's usually very eye-opening for me to learn these things.
Yeah, convince us.
Yeah, I'm thinking they could have add more README. What is going on? Something they can elaborate, and the use case or something. I'm just thinking to add something more.
That's fair, but honestly, this is a pretty short script, so there's probably not a lot more they could add. That's my thinking, but I completely understand where you're coming from. Looking at some other contributions, and you guys have seen more contributions this year, no doubt, than I did. So you have a pretty good base for comparison. Sadly, we already voted Rampriya, so this is gonna go through. But
Just to
yeah,
to add on this, Laszlo, if we see the branch that this user has created, it says first contribution.
and that's another thing. Perfect.
That's the context that I love. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. If a person is if they are trying for the first time, the whole point of us being a community and having volunteer reviewers is like, no, none of us are getting paid for this. So it's really, we want to make sure that people are experiencing it and getting their feet wet. They're trying it, and that's should be encouraged. And we try not, like, I never talked about this for the reviewers though. We clean up once Hacktoberfest ends. So we try to, I want us to be more lenient, especially when you find those kind of like tidbits. Abhishek, like, thank you for finding that. Like, it's our first try. Let's be encouraging and lenient. And if it is a bad contribution, we try to comment that and say like, hey, it could be better. And if you want to submit again, that's perfectly fine. I actually just looked it up. We do have a 70% accept rate. And which means out of 1,400, that's like 400, 500 of them that we reject. But I have been auditing the rejections over time, and I would say more than 80% of the things that we don't accept is because of technical errors. They added too many files, or they didn't provide a description, or the title wasn't right. It's stuff like that, and not necessarily because we thought your code is garbage. No, it's more just like people didn't realize they had a different. They added like 4 files instead of 2. That's pretty common with these. And so we actually have a 70% accept rate. Is actually pretty solid still.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out also for like first contribution. So thanks for putting screen back. So I just added a comment here. We sometimes we don't just add comments when we want people to change something. We also like to appreciate that, especially for first contributors. So in this case, I'm gonna just merge this, and this is now part of our main branch in our source repository. So good job, first time contributor.
Kisharet or whatever your name
I think
was.
there was one contribution you guys wanted me to look at. It's probably the next one, right?
Yeah, Rampriya said 2459.
Yeah, it's the one. So who wants to walk us through this? Or I'm gonna be the screen sharer. So how would you guys like? Let me pick. Okay, Rampriya. Sorry, I'm gonna put you in the spotlight here. You earned this. So do you wanna? I don't know if you can see my screen properly. Let me know if not.
Yeah, I'm saying.
How would you want to review this? And I already see there's potential problems in this one. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Add you properly as the reviewer. Okay, they they filled out the checklist, so that part looks fine. We're going to look at file change.
Files change.
What's going on here? Oh, screenshot. Interesting.
Yeah.
Multiple.
So maybe not too bad. I'm jumping to the README.
I love seeing screenshots though.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, they embedded the screenshots in the README, so okay, that's fine.
That's good.
Is it gonna show it like? Oh yeah. Oh well, not really. Just a diff. Okay, never mind. I would have to like view the file, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, but let's see what this contribution is even about, because I probably missed that. So, incident count of selected CI with clickable link to related incidents. Okay, well, sounds interesting, if I want to be honest. Someone's finally using HTML in those info messages. That's what it sounds like. Let's find the actual code. Oh, there's two, because it's Glide Ajax. Right. Okay, so this is their client script using Glide Ajax.
It's calling.
Yeah, it looks like it's when something changes on the form, it's giving an info message with the actual clickable link in the URL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, nice. HTML formatted.
With an additional message that has a warning that says if there's more than 5, it says, hey, consider this a problem.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. What do you got? So, Rampriya, this is yours now. I'm not going to put it up for vote. It's your decision, yours alone.
Yeah. It's awesome thing. Like he has written script include script and added the README and then also screenshots. All looking good for me.
All right.
And
Yeah,
then messages,
it's a
the
nice
link
example. It's
he
an
has
interesting
embedded.
use.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna now merge on Rampriya's behalf. Apologies for that, because since I'm the one running the stream now, and her not having access to do it at the moment. Yeah, there's WarGR, no doubt. We see WarGR all the time.
It's
you know
okay.
what I say? Like, anybody takes this code, if you take it code, you're responsible for it. So if you don't like WarGR, just change it. Some of our reviewers are a little bit more picky, and they are right to be picky. I think it's fair in 2025 to challenge stuff like WarGR, WarGA, and all the standard things, especially with GA. That can be like Glide Ajax as well as Glide Aggregate in this beautiful example. So that's an entirely different discussion about best practices for naming conventions, which is probably a kind of worms I don't want to open in this stream. So with Rampriya's blessing, we're gonna merge this. All right, let's next, unless you guys have a specific idea, I would say let's maybe look at some of the other repositories and talk a little bit about them also. And Earl, if you have nothing to do, feel free to change the access for code snippets for our reviewers so they can review the rest.
Sure.
So Hack for Good idea submission, we talked about that earlier in this stream. What makes it special? It's not complicated technically to contribute. I think you guys would all agree with that. What makes it extra challenging, perhaps, especially for first-time reviewers, is you have to do the same steps you have to do for code snippets in terms of doing the forking and the branching and all that. But there's that extra step of having to essentially configure an integration between your ServiceNow instance and your own GitHub account, and you will end up downloading this application from your forked repository. And after that, create your idea and submit it. So I guess it's the first time you hear about forking. When you see a repository, oh, yeah, you can click on create fork, and I don't know why it doesn't show mine here. Suggest a name, and you can create a fork, which probably wouldn't work for me in this case because I have one already.
Yeah, if you have that fork already, it won't show your name the next time.
Right.
I think.
Wow, we got 6 pull requests. So as reviewers, ServiceNow files historically have been a bit of a challenge to review. We tried to use this year a bunch of GitHub automations to help us filter the noise, just to make sure we only get particular files we expect in this project. So in this case, and again, look at the contributing guidelines for every repository. That's what you should start with. Already on the top, it mentions what's the file we're expecting. So this is the table name. There's going to be a new record you create in Hack for Good proposals table, and of course the XML extension, since it's coming from ServiceNow. Everything else is written step by step, as I mentioned before, from creating your fork to loading the application into your own ServiceNow instance to creating a new branch, because you don't necessarily have to create a branch. In this case, in GitHub, you can just create the branch in ServiceNow Studio, and going to the Hack for Good portal and submitting a new idea. When that's done, this is still just on your GitHub, so you still need to go back to your fork and to your branch that you either created on GitHub or in ServiceNow Studio, and open a pull request from there. So the process is actually the same in the beginning and in the end. It's only in between that we got that extra twist with using ServiceNow to do some of the operations. Wow, okay, these are all assigned already, funny enough. So let's pick up this one. So once again, what we expect here for Hack for Good Idea submission is one file, which should be a new proposal, something that you as a contributor are suggesting for the Hack for Good team for consideration to be built in one of the future Hack for Good events. They may or may not be picked up, and in what form, that's still to be figured out. So there's already a lengthy description of the proposal submitted by the user, and we already had our automations checking a few things, which looks fine. So last thing we look at is the proposal itself. So we can see this looks good from the outside. It's only the one file we're expecting. Now I know some of the reviewers like to look at the XML and just read the proposal a little bit, or challenge our contributors in terms of amount of information and whatnot. I'm generally not gonna do that because we can't expect everyone to know all the details of proposed solutions, how it should come together, and what ServiceNow products should be used for that, and so on. So I just tend to approve these, and
it is just an idea backlog. So
it's an idea backlog indeed. And the cool thing is,
shout out to the person that tried to submit their proposal for Hack for Good, and the proposal was Hack for Good.
Yes.
So shout out to that person. Going for it.
Good man.
We didn't accept that one.
Yeah. I'm accepting this, and what happens? We get another job running soon after that, which is actually going to update our README on the main repository. So, like I said before, every repository has a README, which is a description of what the project is all about. We already have not all the details, but some of the contributing guidelines fleshed out here, and our, I don't know how long, but too long, way too long, list of submitted ideas. So this recent one, probably the job is still running for it to be added. But if you guys out there are curious what ideas were submitted before, you can actually just browse through them. You can find the files, of course. You can sync your forked repository to get all the latest accepted PRs into it, and refresh it in ServiceNow as well from source control, and you can look at those ideas yourself.
336 of them.
What?
There's 336 accepted submissions so far.
Wow, this ever-growing list was not the best idea. Probably I should have put it in a separate file, because I honestly figured it's gonna be like maybe 100 tops. That's I don't know.
No, that's good. That's good to see.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's Hack for Good. I don't know if you got any questions on stream, but otherwise we got nothing for Action Pack. That's too bad. I wanted to show something for Action Pack.
Real quick for Hack for Good. No, not just for Hack for Good, for all three of them. If you are all like star contributors to Hacktoberfest, one of the things I think you could step up and learn. I jump scare every time it zooms in on my own face. Oh, this is how it feels. This is how it feels when someone does it to me. Oh, I always do it to other people. Okay. Laszlo. I'm not used to that. Anyways, okay. If you think of yourself as a really solid ServiceNow developer or coder, especially coding, or you have participated in Hacktoberfest and level 3 was like, oh, it's still pretty simple. And it was like, you're doing something in ServiceNow, then you submit a pull request. It's straightforward. That's normal contribution. If you want to step up your source control game, I would really encourage you to start looking at that .github folder in all of the repositories, including the main Hacktoberfest one. That's where our automations are. And whenever submissions happen and are accepted, there are a ton of different automations running in the background. So .github and then the workflows one. So just in these three that you see on the screen for Hack for Good, HackTrack is what is controlling how we internally keep track of all the submissions people have made, how we know our reviewers are performing, how many people have closed things, opened things, accepted things, opened issues, forked our repositories, and that all constructs the leaderboard on the Hacktoberfest page. If you go through and look at this, you can see how it was run. And this was way before AI came around. And so like we built some of these things from scratch. Some of them we use AI to help us, but creating these kind of workflows is like eye-opening on how to do a lot of automations and stuff like that. It's how the Slack bot is able to take JavaScript files from just the repository and push it to the ServiceNow instance. It's how we do the automation checks to see if like the folders were correct that Ravi shouted out.
We're gonna navigate to that one now. Validate structure.
Yeah, and that one, it does multiple validations. It checks structure, it checks if you put any invalid characters inside of the folder structure. It does a lot of cool stuff. And so if you are thinking you want to step up your game on GitHub and integrations with other systems out within Git, then looking at these workflows is a really cool way to learn some more.
Oh yeah, that's the actual validation script that's called by that workflow.
Where is this Slack bot that notifies us whenever there is a PR?
What was that?
Slack bot.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's an automation that notifies whenever there is a PR. So we have separate channel in the Slack, right?
and
So
that's
everything the
a
GitHub or
that's a that's a repository as well, which is I mean, which is also open for contributions all year round. Like that's another thing we don't tend to highlight too much, but these repositories are not just for the month of October. They're always there. We don't get to highlight them too often, and they don't get a lot of love during the year, if I want to be honest. Yeah, but yeah, the Slacker, the Slack bot is a repository, so people can actually fork it just the same, load it into their PDIs, and look at how it works. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can spin up your own Slack server and try it out. But it has issues, so if you feel like you want to contribute, you can pick up an issue. I'm pretty sure it has issues historically. Well, okay. And yeah, that's as Ravi said, just that's an automation that you guys can see if you join our Slack and the Hacktoberfest channel that posts there every day about the number of PRs that were open that day and during this year and so on, and so some statistics. So that's fun. But it does a lot of things in all the other channels, like all the funny comments and reactions and other automations. It's pretty crazy. I don't know, Earl, how long has it been in the making for now?
That's actually a funny story, because the original Slack bot was created as a fork from Points thing.
Oh,
the plus thing on the unofficial Slack community. If you say someone's name and then press plus, it gives them points, and it's just a community way of tracking. Like, hey, thanks for it's giving kudos to each other. The original points thing was made by 2 developer advocates that were before me. So when I joined, it was only 3 of us. It was me, Chuck, and Brad. But before me and before Brad, it was Dave Slusher and Josh Nereus, who were 2 of the original developer advocates for our community. And on a live coding happy hour, they created a Slack bot over 3 episodes, and they made it a points thing. Those 3 episodes of live coding happy hour, I watched as a community member before I joined ServiceNow. I think I was a freshman ServiceNow developer, and I recreated that bot and made Slacker on the Slack community so that we can have funny scripts to do silly things. And so it's that kind of stuff really early on, when we see people contributing and participating and just having fun in the community and building cool stuff without expecting anything, just to be participants. It's that kind of stuff that can grow into something bigger. And now Slacker is a community built thing with all these cool stuff running because people contributed to it. And it's been fun to see that kind of just grow over time. But there's there's 50 plus scripts running on that thing that people have contributed now. And we've made a cool system where you can submit it and it runs through all of them to validate. It's a cool system. I'm still really proud of that bot. It's such a cool bot.
It is. And I've seen multiple people actually before whose first contributions were to Slacker, because they were just more comfortable with just JavaScript, like pure JavaScript, rather than, I don't know, coming up with apps or all sorts of things. Or they had nothing to offer, but there was always something to do about Slacker. So that's what they did. All right. I think we're at the top of the hour. So just wrapping up. Just want to say thanks once again for our volunteer reviewers for jumping on the stream and all the work you guys are doing this Hacktoberfest 2025 season. Like I said, if anyone has any questions, you'll find all the answers at devling.sn/Hacktoberfest. And there you go. And jump onto the Slack channel as well, which I'm pretty sure is highlighted on the blog post as well. If you got any questions, our reviewers are there, we are there, and the community is there to help you succeed. There's still one more week, plenty of time for you to get to super contributor level. If you guys need any help, these fantastic folks are there to help you. Thanks for joining today. Have a nice weekend, everyone, wherever you are. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
I forgot to loop the animation. There it goes. I made this song.